in the other room. I will begin the 437 Board of Education Monday, August 3rd meeting. Call to order. And we have no staff or school highlights tonight. Did we have anybody sign up for public comment?
No.
Okay. Seeing no public comments, we'll do a roll call. And looks like all members are present with the exception of Casey Johnson. And we'll move to section 3.02, the approval of the agenda.
Mr. President, I move approval of the agenda as published.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion passes 6-0. And item 4, disposition of business by consent.
The Board of Education approves business by consent, including payment bills in the amount of $1,399,698.53.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion passes 6-0. And we'll continue with administrator reports. Dr.
This,
Ja.
this evening, we have a report by Dr. DeSoto. He is going to provide you an overview of the needs assessment. As a reminder, this is a statutory requirement annually as part of the budget development process, and it will inform you of the projections we make when we bring the budget to you here in just really a matter of weeks. So, Dr. DeSoto.
All right, well, good evening. As we walk through this, I usually do this in 2 parts. So tonight I will give you an overview of how the process works and how we've come to some of the conclusions. At one of our upcoming board meetings, we will walk through specific data, specific building plans, things of that nature. So I give this to you in 2 parts so you can reflect on the broader district goals, and then later on you'll look at the more specific building-based plans. So when we think about continuous improvement in Auburn-Washburn, there are 3 pillars that we always try to lean on. First of all, we want it to be meaningful. If we are going to develop plans, we want them to be plans that are actionable and that will improve student achievement, not something that we are simply just trying to do. If we have to do it, then let's do it right and do it in a way that informs and enhances student learning. It's aligned, and so you'll notice that we try very hard to ensure alignment between strategic planning processes, KESA, which is the Kansas Educational Systems Accreditation, which this process is modeled off after, school improvement plans, our professional learning community teams, and then how we provide professional learning over the course of the school year. And then finally, school focused. So we know that the best student outcome improvements happen in schools, and so the way that the process is structured is to provide the planning at the school level, but then also the district support and resources at the schools to be able to make meaningful progress in the lives of students' academics. And so, we'll share that data with you in an upcoming board meeting, and there are some strong trends that we're excited to share with you at that time. So as part of the KESA process, this is a broad overview that all districts go through, but essentially we form a large collaborative team, which I'll go into a little bit more in a minute. We meet with the check-in accreditation team from KSCE to give them ongoing updates and progress. We then engage in collaboration with other like school districts in terms of demographics. We build our plan during that time. We submit the action plan for approval, and then we begin implementation of that plan. So over the course of last year, we worked through developing these plans. And so what you are seeing tonight in terms of the district focus areas are the district pieces of that implementation plan, which are the ones that we have to submit to KSCE for approval. All right, so the first step of this is we have a strong district guiding coalition that has 23 members, of which 15 are teachers. We're very proud of that. We have a lot of teacher representation, math, English, science, social studies, PE, music, general ed, special ed, elementary, middle, high school, all across the gamut, to get a wide variety of perspectives and voices to be able to develop these plans. We have administrators from all levels, well represented, different types of schools, across the board. And so we want a lot of voices in coming up with these plans. So this is not a plan where Learning Services develops a plan and says, hey, we're going to do this. This is something that's collaboratively developed and been vetted with a lot of people, and those folks are here. We've been very proud of the work that that group has accomplished, and they have been tremendously helpful in terms of developing what I think are really high quality plans. So this is, as a reminder, this was last year's team who built this year's plan, and we'll have some changes here and there with the team as we move into the next year. Our regional check-in, so we have a fall check-in, and it's basically with some members of our team to say, hey, how are things going? So in October and in April, those are our 2 6-month and 1-year checkpoints within the KISA process. And so we have our data-driven goals that are aligned to those, and we provide updates at that time, both in October during the system check-in as well as in April. And all of our check-ins over the last year and going through this process have been very positive. The state has been very pleased with our progress, and we have as well overall as a system. So there are some focusing questions. So where are we at? How are we doing? What do we want to look at next? Are we prepared to stay on track for the future? Where are we? And we have historically been able to say, yep, and things have gone really well. We have our School Improvement Day. That School Improvement Day takes place in April. As we engage in that process, we are there with Manhattan, Seaman, and Shawnee Heights. Highly collaborative. They have us intermingling with lots of different people within that day, and we get a lot of really good ideas that can influence our plan. We also get to meet with the KSCE implementation specialists, and we walk through that with them our progress, and they give us feedback and ideas and areas to grow. One common piece of feedback that lots of districts shared with us on our plans were how collaborative they were and how much as a system we valued the participation of everyone, and especially our teachers in these plans. And so again, I can't sing the praises of that group enough in supporting that, but that has been a very strong point for us, both from other districts but also our implementation specialists. So we also have a variety of collaboration approaches as we develop this plan. So again, I've spoken heavily about the District Guiding Coalition, but buildings get feedback on this plan as well from site councils. Their school improvement leadership teams engage with these goals. And of course, we work with principals and administrators at our meetings throughout the year as we build these plans, and then support them in building their building level blueprints. Those blueprints are what you will see at an upcoming board meeting. So what we do as a system is we stay tight to, here are our collective district focus areas, because we've had teacher representation and administrator representation in developing those. So we are collectively going to agree to these pieces. But then at the building level, we will give you the autonomy and professional judgment to figure out how does that work in your context. It might look different in one elementary school versus another, so long as your work is aligned with the district's goals. And then we have check-in processes to ensure that structure is maintained and that schools continue to make progress. We submit our KISA action plan that we're required to do. And so I keep putting this slide up here just to give you an idea of where we're at. So for the 24-25 school year, to be compliant in this area, we had to write the plan for last year. We did that. For 25-26, we had to implement the plan and submit a new one. We did that. Our implementation was very strong. They were very pleased with our performance. For the next school year, we also have to start layering in data. We'll talk more about what that looks like over the course of the year. But they are looking at things like, are you meeting your goals? Are you maintaining consistent levels of data? Is it predictable? Is it stable? As you know, we've worked really hard to create a culture of stability and processes that enhance that. And so it's really measuring the academic performance of that stability. And so that's what we'll be looking at over the 26-27 school year. These are the KISA fundamentals and structures. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this particular slide. I'll talk a little bit more about this in our district goals, other than to say that our district goals, so when you look at the language we use in our focus areas of standards alignment and quality instruction as tied to tiered systems of supports comes straight off of the KISA framework. So we use the state's framework and our district plan, and then the building plans are tied to the district plan, so there is alignment. Because remember, the more we can be aligned from the state level to the district level to the building level to the PLC team to the classroom, we're all pulling in the same direction. All the resources can be more efficiently used to get us to our goals when we know what we're aiming at. And so I won't spend much more time on this slide other than to say our work is based on that from the state. So then we implement. So you will, at an upcoming board meeting, have all of the school plans to be able to review. You'll accept those and we'll move forward and do the hard work that goes with this. But again, it's building driven and it's very meaningful work, and people are seeing good results from that work. And so definitely worthwhile. Our team remains committed to supporting professional learning community teams in schools. So we have monthly learning partnership meetings at the building level. We have instructional facilitator meetings where we provide training to our folks. We engage with principals on these topics all the time, all throughout the year. So we provide as much support as we can for people to be successful. All right, so finally, here's the fun stuff. So these would be the district focus areas that drive the building level blueprints. And I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit because I know it's kind of wordy, but this is what we submitted to the state. So there are essentially two goals. Both are focused on tiered systems of supports. So we answered the question a couple of years ago, what do we want students to know? Last year, we worked to answer the question, how do we know students have learned? So we worked on Mastery 10, we worked on Common Assessment work. Now, we have to have the conversations of what do the systems look like to support the results of that learning? When students aren't learning, how do we respond to that? Because in spite of our best efforts, there will be students who struggle. When students do learn, what does enrichment and extension look like for them? And how do we look at the systems that support that work? We have fantastic systems that exist in our schools. What we need to spend this year doing is looking at those systems and looking at what's working and find ways to spread that throughout the entire organization. So this first goal, in summary, is around what does that system look like? As a district, what do we want response to intervention look like? And then how do we go about operationalizing that at the building level? So we have a vision for response to intervention. At the building, it looks like X, Y, and Z, and here's how we support that. So this is a more behind the scenes goal of system building. The second one then is focused on high quality instruction. So you can't systematize your way into high quality teaching. You have high quality teaching by having the right instructional strategies and tools in your tool belt and know which ones to pull out at the right time. And so this is about thinking about what does core instruction look like, tier 1, what every student gets. What does that look like? When some students need a little bit more, whether it is additional support to learn or reteach, enrich and extend, what does that look like? What does effective teaching look like in that scenario? And finally, for students who need a lot more, what does that look like? And being very clear about that and providing professional learning around high quality instruction. And so the goal is by the end of the year, we've got a good framework built so that when we roll into the next school year, we have something to implement. And for the second goal, we are reaffirming and reorienting and recommitting to high quality instructional strategies that we already know and use to be able to support those plans moving forward. So hopefully that makes a little more sense than the technical jargon that's up here, but this just shows how we'll track it and monitor that information. At an upcoming meeting, we'll share the school-based blueprints. We'll go through a walkthrough of the data and trends comparing this year to last year, some high-level data. and then go through an overview of our professional learning plan. I threw a lot at you in a short period of time. As a reminder, this is an overview, right? So you'll have some time to digest this, and I'll come back before you and we'll get into more specifics. But I'm happy to answer any questions you have now about how the process works.
So Jeff, when you were talking about KISA compliance and how in 24, 25, we had to submit the action plan, and then last year was submit and then implement, and then this year there's data tied to it. After this year, are there more steps like in the following years, or is this like a mature implementation after this year with the data and all of that, and it's just changing focus areas and moving? I guess what I'm saying is, are we at the point where going forward we've fully implemented what the KISA compliance pieces of it were?
Yeah, so first of all, great question. Second of all, we are always implementing exactly what they're wanting us to do. So they're kind of slow rolling what the data piece looks like. What their primary focus has been on adult behavior. So what you'll notice in here is the metrics that we are utilizing are focused on system changes and how we influence the adults who are working with kids. Their research that they are using and the model that KISA has built their plan on is the 4 disciplines of execution. And so thus far, they have been tied to how can we influence the system up front in leading metrics that will eventually improve student achievement, which is slower and harder to come by in the lagging metrics. And so they're still clarifying a little bit of what that looks like. They may add some additional pieces to that. They will probably continue to refine, but I think that the system as a whole will be pretty stable moving forward.
Okay.
We know that there will be student performance metrics, but they will probably continue to enhance those over time.
Okay, thank
Does
you.
that answer your question?
Yeah.
Any further questions or discussion?
As always, appreciate your support, and we will send you the very lengthy plans at an upcoming meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This evening, we also have a facilities 5.02, facilities and building update. I'm going to turn that to Rich and we'll dive in.
So happy to report, Friday, Auburn and Pauline South both passed their final inspection. So we have occupancy at those two buildings. Staff are able to get in. There's still work going on, punch list items, finishes, furniture. The new furniture is all being put together and installed this week. So there's still activity at those buildings through this week, but staff are able to get in, get rooms set up, and we're good to go. Wanamaker is a little different. Tucker with Lighthouse is here to give us a report in executive session, talk through some of that with us. But for the most part, everything else district-wide is going well. The roof on this building, they completed about half of it today. They'll be back later in the week to finish that up. They're going to Pauline South tomorrow to do that small section that we had to do along with the bond work. We have some capital outlay projects, some smaller ones that are going this week and will wrap up through this week and the first of next week. So overall, good summer, busy summer, especially for the last one. And we just have to get to the finish with one of our buildings. So any questions about any certain?
We're almost to the finish line.
We're
been
close. We're
Work
very
in progress for a long time, so appreciate everything. It takes a team for sure.
It absolutely does. We've had some really good partners.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Rich. Any further question or discussion? All right. We'll move on to item 6, back to school. Collier.
So while I don't have a formal presentation, just some remarks about activity that's happening leading up to the first day of school. So we have welcomed back our HR team, and everyone did a great job of attracting really high quality individuals. Learning Services has been putting on some great onboarding sessions for our staff, so we were excited to welcome them back. We have convocation tomorrow morning at 8, where we will welcome everyone and officially kick off the 26-27 school year. We'll have parking spots for you all in the morning, and we'll meet you in the gymnasium on the floor on the right side of the gym. We'll have some seats there for you. Really would like to compliment our tech department, who's been working very hard too, behind all of the construction that's happening, getting everyone ready to move in. A lot has been happening with devices and other things I don't understand in Mr. Clear's world there, but they've been working very hard and appreciate that. And we know across the district custodians have been working and shifting to buildings, and they're prepared to do a full attack here to support staff returning at our buildings. So thank you for that. We just had walk-up registration at the high school, and there was great attendance there. It was nice to be able to visit with and meet some of our parents and students outside or in the hallways as they were waiting. Jessica Roberts was there as well. She'll have an update for you about that regarding Parent Square. We've had in our building principals still meeting some of them with their leadership teams in their building, if you will, setting a course forward for the year, defining the goals they have for their particular school sites. I had the opportunity to visit some kindergarten boot camps, and that's always exciting, motivating, rewarding, and you just forget how tiny they are when they first walk through our door. And then go visit an early childhood center here in a couple days too, and we'll see that again. We had our administrative retreat last week, and it seems how days just kind of grow together this time of year. But that was a great experience for me to get to be in the room with all of our administrators and feel the positive energy there. Got some great feedback for them, asked them some reflective questions, thinking about what they know in the district regarding just how we take care of people, how we take care of our students, asked them for feedback around our processes across the district, asked them for feedback around performance in the district, got some feedback around progress and what that looks like. So it was just a good day, and hopefully administrators would report the same too as well. I had the opportunity to attend the Beefield Resource Fair. It was held at Pauline Central last weekend, and saw just great community partners with us working to support students and families in their return to school. Had an opportunity at that fair to interact with other great supportive district partners, so it was nice to be able to engage with them as well. So a lot is happening. You can feel the pace around the district really has been kicked into high gear. We'll be ready to go. That might look a little different in some spots, but we'll be ready to go and excited to see those buses rolling and backpacks going on and returning back to the routine of school. So that's my report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Collier. And we'll go to item 6.02, Parent Square update. Yep.
Okay, hopefully you all have seen the communication come out from the district and from your schools about the adoption of Parent Square. We have officially rolled out. Thank you to Patrick Clear and his team. That integration with Parent Square and our student information system, Infinite Campus, has been as remarkable as it possibly could be. We have 7 families of our thousands that we are missing some information from, so we're working on putting those 7 families in the system, but other than that, everybody's been put in and is ready to get actively signed up. We've developed a communication timeline and an implementation timeline to get all of our coaches, activity sponsors, classroom teachers, et cetera, trained on the system. We are starting with our secondary coaches, activity club sponsors, because the legislation most directly impacts them and their work. I have, and Patrick has, 3 different sessions on Thursday, training sessions with that secondary level that we will be hosting. We also have an administrator training scheduled for August the 18th, so we're trying to get these different groups up and running as fast as we can. As of this morning, when I checked, We have 714 parents have already downloaded the app, so that's 11%, which is pretty good considering I haven't pushed individual invitations yet. So this is people that have just logged on their own. That piece will be coming after we get a few more people trained. The beauty of Parent Square, I think I shared this before, is that you don't have to download the app. We will still be able to reach you. So even if a parent doesn't download the app, they will still get the emails, the text messages, et cetera. So I think the goal is to get everybody up and running by January 5th, which is the first day of our second semester. So it's going to take kind of this first semester to get everybody up and trained, and then starting second semester, the goal is that Parent Square is the universal communication platform for all school communications. There are a few things that will remain in Infinite Campus for now, things like attendance alerts. There might be a few other like food payment alerts for food service type of thing that initially will stay in Infinite Campus, but we will work to get that integrated as well. Any questions?
Thank you for that. And then on those platforms, just like the other messages that go out, is it, you can target the message to certain schools or whatever, just like the previous messages, I assume?
Right, yeah, so you can do everything super targeted, and then the parents, whatever sports their kids might be in, clubs, activities, they would join those
Gotcha.
specifically and have all that information in one app instead of the multiple apps.
All right, thank you. All right, if there's no other further questions, we'll move to 6.03, the 2026-27 Tallgrass Student Handbook, also just.
Oh, yes. So you have a tracked version of the changes in your board packet. The vast majority of the changes are related to updated staff information, contact information. There were some time adjustments to the daily bell schedule that are in there, adding 3-digit prefixes to all the phone numbers, updating the graduation requirement table to match WRHS's graduation table. There's also some updated language to student expectations, cool-down procedures, and behavioral referrals. This is coming to you very close to school starting, so it also will show up as an action item tonight's later on in the agenda.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? All right, if none, I would move to action item 7.00, the Tallgrass Student Handbook.
Mr. President, I'd move the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 Tallgrass Student Handbook as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion passes 6-0. And moving on to item number 7.02, Eagle Scout project proposal.
I move the Board of Education accept the proposed Eagle Scout project from Aiden Remmert to construct and install a Gaga pit on the Pauline Central Playground.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? And motion passes 6-0.
Just point of clarity, Rich, you'll follow up with him and let him know. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he'll be excited. Did a good job presenting.
Question, do you know, he had other approvals from scouts and stuff?
He still had to submit to the council, and I have to go back on how that does not. So I think his troop was fine with it, but then he had to take it on to the.
National or whatever, regional, okay, perfect. Okay, there are no communication items tonight, so, and we, if there are none, the chair would move to go into executive session at 7 o'clock to discuss students pursuant to the exception relating to the actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under coma, personnel matters pursuant to the exception or non-elected personnel under coma, discuss budget pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under coma, and to discuss operation planning pursuant to the exceptions of matters relating to safety and security measures under coma for 20 minutes and resume in the boardroom at 7:20.
Second.
All in favor?
Can I make a comment so I can go before?
Well,
I'm Liz Asia, I'm a parent.
yes, normally we have the open forum at 6:30, but I'll discuss with the team, and then if we're able to do that, we can do it.
For timing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the chair would move, welcome back to public session, and the chair would move to re-enter executive session at 7:20.
Are we gonna, are we gonna do the public session now?
Oh, we're gonna do,
You have to
Yeah.
open it
Oh,
back up and get a motion because there's a timing issue.
oh, I'm sorry, okay. Yeah, we'll move it back into open session. Another matter.
Mr. President, I would move that we go back to the public comment section, 2.02, due to a timing issue with a patron that would like to make a comment.
Second.
We have a motion and second, all in favor? All right, motion passes 6-0. All right, at this time, Elizabeth Astrab, how do you, Astrab, okay. Is here for attending the Auburn-Washburn meeting, speak to the board. Any district employee, patron residing in the district, or student attending Auburn-Washburn School may speak in open forum. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and the board will have 2 additional minutes to ask clarifying questions. We ask those speaking, model the behavior of the rules we expect of our students and your children while speaking. Please be respectful and courteous during comments. The board will show you the same level of respect. If your comments are about personnel problems concerning students, parents, school employees, please note that board policy KN requires that you visit with the teacher, principal, or superintendent before bringing the issue to the board. All matters pertaining to negotiations between any group of the board are discussed by the board in executive session. All right.
Thank you guys all for accommodating me. I appreciate
Sure.
it. I was the one who sent the original email to Mr. Knoller about the data centers and the meeting. And I was told that there was no meeting, which, okay, that's fine. And then we found out that there was actually several board members there. That was very disheartening as a parent, because I have the best interest of all the kids. Every student is our responsibility. Every child that we come in contact is our responsibility. It's really frustrating because I would like to know, like, who on the board is involved in this project and had the invitation? Who is benefiting from this data center that's also holding an elected official position on our school board when one of our schools is already going to be impacted by this? I feel like that should be public, open information, and the board needs to take a stand. Like, we're for this project moving forward, we're against this project moving forward. We need to make sure that our school board's not being enriched personally by this project being pushed through.
Okay.
So do you guys have a deadline for when you all will vote on your public position on it?
Since I've been on the board has never taken a position on any matter, any political issue. The board remains neutral. There is no business before the board, nor do we anticipate business coming before the board related to official approval, disapproval, recommendation, non-recommendation of the data center.
I appreciate that, Mr. Smith, but there was members of this board who attended a meeting that was not open to the public, along with city council members and county commissioners and the company itself, which says these members are taking a stand.
I would just refer you to the statement that we made on that. That was on the advice of our council. That was not any type of attendance at a community event of that nature. Did not fall under the Kansas Open Meeting Act. And probably if you needed to talk to our council, you should talk to our council. And I think that's the position the board has taken on it. Yeah. There was no meeting that fell under coma, meaning it was not a meeting of the board about business that was going to come before the board.
Okay, but do you understand
Can we-
like the
Yeah,
perception of it?
This is not open dialogue. I mean, this.
No, I just wanted you to know where to find that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
We've
then my-
answered, okay.
My also concern is the teachers don't have contracts yet. How are we gonna have convocation tomorrow if there's no teacher contracts? How do we have our school supplies and our backpacks packed if we don't have our teachers and our staff with contracts?
You're correct that the administration board are still working through the negotiation process. It's not unheard of that sometimes that process lingers. Both parties are still at the table, and we anticipate positive start of school and positive convocation tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping as a parent that they just
Yeah.
get.
We're going to wrap this up, but we'll attend any other events to the public, including some at the library, to look at options and be as educated as we can as a board. That's all we're doing as board members, being educated to make decisions for our district. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say too, Liz, we appreciate you coming out and speaking to us. As a parent, we always want everyone in the community to be engaged, and so we want you guys to come bring these things to us, so we appreciate you speaking.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys all for what you
Good
do.
evening.
All right, the chair would move to re-enter executive session at 7:28 to discuss students pursuant to the exception related to actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under coma, personal matters pursuant to an exception of non-elected personnel under coma, discuss budget pursuant to exception of employer-employee negotiations under coma, and discuss emergency operation planning pursuant to the exceptions of matters relating to safety and security measures under coma for 15 minutes.
Second.
And the meeting will resume at boardroom at 7:44.
Second.
Second? All in favor? All right. And the chair will move us back into executive session. And we have one other business item, 901, 2026-27, out of district and out of attendance recommendations.
I move the Board of Education approve out-of-district and out-of-attendance area requests for the 26-27 school year as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion
Move to-
passes 6-0.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? And motion passes 6-0. Concludes our meeting.